It now becomes the duty of the court to impose sentence in this case, and that is to see that this defendant never again has the opportunity to walk the streets of our community as a free man.
Meanwhile, an upstate New York man received the maximum sentence today for shooting and killing a young woman who was in a car that mistakenly drove onto his property.
Hello, my name is Paco Rivera, and this is the Maximum Sentence channel, where we discuss recent crimes and convictions and the maximum penalty handed down. You can also follow me on Facebook for updates. There will be a link to my Facebook in the description below. Before I begin talking about a very tragic case that I'm going to discuss, I would like to offer everyone a bit of advice, if you are not already aware. If I'm not mistaken, the laws about this are the same in almost every state. If you live in a town where it's different, I would love to hear about it in the comments. If a stranger, a robber, breaks into your house while you are home, you can shoot him dead. I know that to be the case here in North Carolina, and like I said, I believe it's the same in almost every state. Here in North Carolina, we don't see too many of those type of home invasions, or it's extremely rare. I think almost everyone that lives in this state owns a gun, and a robber would be crazy to burst into somebody's house while people are home, unless he has a death wish. So yes, you can shoot and kill a stranger that busted into your house, even if he's unarmed. That's because once the person is inside, he is a threat to your life. He may overpower you and grab a knife from the kitchen or a poker stick from the fireplace. Now, if you are home with the doors locked and you see someone trespassing onto your property outside in the yard or in the driveway or even on your front porch, you cannot go out there and shoot the person. Like I said, if that law is different in your town, please comment about it. As much as it may worry you or annoy you or even feel threatening to you, you cannot leave the confines of your home to kill a suspicious stranger in your yard. About 35, 40 years ago, it was a long time ago, I was having a conversation with a sergeant with the police who was investigating a homicide, and he was showing me Polaroid pictures of the crime scene. Pretty horrific stuff. This was before cell phone cameras, so they took a lot of Polaroid pictures back then, and he would walk around with them in his shirt pocket. During the conversation, while we were talking, he said to me, you know, if you ever kill someone outside your house, it would be a good idea to drag his body back into your house before calling police. Now, in this day and age with forensics so advanced, that probably won't work. But this gives you a gist of where I'm coming from with that. Kaylin Gillis was a beautiful, intelligent, honor student who had just turned 20 years old. She was about to start college with the dream of someday becoming a veterinarian or marine biologist. Kaylin was kind to everyone, and she loved animals and everything Disney. She knew every Disney movie and princess ever created. She had been dating her high school sweetheart, Blake Walsh, for 4 years, since their early high school days. And they often told each other that they were going to be part of the 2%, referring to a statistic that only 2% of high school sweethearts eventually get married. Kaylin was the pride and joy of her family, especially her dad, Andrew Gillis, who had such high hopes for his daughter.
Kaylin was an amazing young lady. We all loved her so much. She was so kind. We're just at a loss at this moment. Kaylin deserves to have her story told and what a beautiful person she was and how many people loved her. My daughter was an honor student. She had hopes and dreams of becoming She had hopes and dreams of becoming a marine biologist or a veterinarian. She loved animals. And this man took that away from us.
As I am doing this presentation, it is now March of the year 2024. About 11 months ago, during the evening of April 15, 2023, 20-year-old Kaylin Gillis was the passenger in an SUV driven by her boyfriend, 19-year-old Blake Walsh. There were some friends in another car behind them, and behind that car, yet another friend on a motorcycle. The group were all headed to a party that night at yet another friend's home, but they had some trouble locating the address. The caravan of 2 cars and a motorcycle ended up turning onto a long, winding backcountry road in a very rural area of Hebron, New York, a small town located in upstate New York, a little more than an hour's drive from Albany. Because they were in a remote area with no cell phone service, nobody in any of the cars were able to be guided by GPS or contact someone for help with directions to the home that they were looking for. The cars and motorcycle pulled into the driveway of this home, at first thinking that they found the house that they were looking for. Meanwhile, inside the house was the homeowner, a man who had worked in the construction business and had been living in this house for 40 years. His name is Kevin Monahan. Monahan saw all the lights from vehicle headlights streaming into his house, and he could hear the rumbling sounds of cars and a motorcycle in what is typically a very quiet region at that time of night. He quickly grabbed his shotgun and went out onto the front porch just above the driveway. But before that happened, Brian Walsh and Kaylin Gillis and their friends had all realized that they were at the wrong house. The motorcycle pulled away and the friend's car, and Brian was the last one to pull out of the driveway. And as they were leaving, as they were driving away, Kevin Monahan began shooting his shotgun at the cars. Brian would later tell investigators that he heard someone yell that somebody is shooting at us, and the next thing he knows, his girlfriend beside him is slumped over after being shot in the neck from a bullet that came through the SUV. Without cell phone service, the group drove about 5 miles toward the nearby city of Salem, and there they were able to call 911. But by the time paramedics arrived, Kaylin had died. Early the following morning, police arrived at the home of Kevin Monahan, but he refused to come out of the residence. A special response team had to be called in, and one called his telephone. He told the official on the phone that he doesn't know what they are talking about, that he didn't shoot any gun, and that the bullets must have come from hunters back in the woods. Monahan finally agreed to exit his home and was taken into custody. The case went to trial this past January. Monahan's defense was that the shooting was an accident, that he was trying to shoot some warning shots at the individuals to scare them away, and that he did not mean to shoot into one of the vehicles. One report shows how prosecutors argued that Monahan was motivated by an irrational rage toward trespassers. The jury deliberated for 2 hours and found Kevin Monahan guilty. According to court witnesses, Monahan, who is now 66 years old, appeared to show no emotion or remorse for what he had done.
Kevin Monahan was merciless in his judgment to act that night. And the question here then would be, should he be shown mercy? And based on that, the answer is no.
And this month of March, he was officially sentenced to 25 years to life in prison, something that was issued along with some harsh words from the judge.
I think you really could possibly do the same thing again. It's obvious to me that you feel justified. You don't take any responsibility for the outcome of your actions. You senselessly took the life of Kaylin Gillis, and you have the gall to sit here and talk about how you plan to finish up the work on your house and race motocross in the future. You don't deserve that. You murdered Kaylin Gillis. You shot at a car full of people, and you didn't care what would happen, and you repeatedly lied about it. You deserve to spend the maximum time in prison allowable under our law. I sentence you to a term of 25 years to life in prison.
Please remember to subscribe for more of these true crime stories so that you're alerted when the next one comes out. You can also follow me on Facebook. There will be a link to my Facebook in the description below. My name is Paco Rivera. Take care and bye for now.